Hello.
Hey there! Hi!
Welcome to this week's virtual write-in. I'm Wendy, one of the interns.
You go first.
I'm Katharine, I'm the other intern.
And I'm Shelby, I'm the office captain at NaNoWriMo.
Okay. Shelby, tell us what write-in is.
Okay, so this is, I think, our third virtual write-in for camp.
Yep.
So basically, we are here to help you get your word count up in the middle of the week. Sometimes Wednesdays are kind of a drag, so hopefully this will help inspire you to write a little bit more, get over that hump day. So we'll have 4 word sprints for you throughout this write-in. It's about an hour, right?
Yep.
Yes.
It's an hour long, 4 word sprints. And for those of you who might be joining us for the first time and maybe you don't know what a word sprint is, it is usually we give you an optional prompt and then give you about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the agreed upon length, to write as quickly and as freely as you possibly can. And it's a really helpful tool to increase word counts and to find new storylines.
Yeah. So just keep in mind, if you're on a roll with what you're writing, you don't have to do this. You can just listen to us. In the background, we'll also be writing with you guys. But yeah, so just getting it out there, getting that word count.
Yeah.
So Wendy, what's our topic today?
The topic is antagonist villains! Yay! Yeah, I'm the most excited.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what is an antagonist?
Well, it's usually the opposite of the hero or the protagonist in a story.
The villain, if you will.
Yes,
Yeah.
the villain.
Or, the bad guy, the arch enemy, or the nemesis person.
I remember oftentimes hearing that antagonists can also be ideas like
Ooh, yeah.
poverty,
Yeah, that's true.
starvation,
It could be nature and society.
totalitarian regimes.
Oh, yeah.
1984. Definitely.
Yeah.
It could be lots of things. It
Yeah.
could be anything.
They don't necessarily have to be bad people. They just have different morals standards opposed to them, or compared to the protagonist.
They provide some obstacle to the story that keeps it going along.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
let's get to the words.
Let's just jump into it.
Okay, so our prompt is, it's going to be super kind of easy. Just think about your favorite antagonist or villain character and give descriptions of them.
So just make a list, maybe your favorite ones. It could be one that you've written. It could be one from a book or a movie that you watched and you liked. Anything, but just give a little description of who that character is and what that thing is and why it's such a great antagonist. All right.
Yeah.
How long is this going to be? 5 minutes?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Okay, hold on.
All right. We'll set the timer.
Yes. Okay. 5 minutes. We'll start. Okay. Right now. So
We're starting.
Yep, we're starting right now.
How are we doing on time?
Nearly a minute left. All right. Under 30 minutes, or 30 seconds, my bad. Whoa. Oh, okay, so 5 minutes are up.
Time. Put down your pencils, pens, fingers. You're typing.
Yeah.
All right.
So, what villain did you write about?
Well, I was just listing several of my favorites, but I think the one that really popped up for me was Jaime from Game of Thrones.
Ooh.
Because he just starts out as one of the most disgusting characters that you could possibly imagine. And then, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but as the story progresses, he just like gains so much more depth, and you kind of start thinking, wait, is he a bad guy? Is he? I don't know. So
That's always the good ones.
yeah,
And they turn out to be, like, are they? They're like the anti-hero.
yeah. Well, I don't know.
Wow.
Kind of hard in Game of Thrones because everybody.
Yeah, I know, right?
You know.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen a whole lot of that show. I know that's sacrilegious, but everybody, no one seems to be that great.
No, they aren't.
They're not.
That's funny. Mine is sort of similar. I picked Madame Defarge from A Tale of Two Cities. And I sort of just described how I felt about her as a character. She kind of gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
And I think if that book had been written by someone else, maybe she would have been the protagonist instead of the antagonist.
Yeah, that's true.
That's always the case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is always the
You
case.
flip it.
Yeah, but she definitely had more spark than any other character in that novel to me.
Yes.
And by spark, I mean like a love of the guillotine. So.
Oh, in the chat box, don't forget to put down your word count or which villain you wrote about.
Yeah, maybe share your favorite, because we're sharing ours, but we'd love to hear yours as well.
Mhm.
And then we'll read some of them out and
Yeah.
share them when they start popping up. So.
I kind of wrote about Eli and Victor in Vicious by V.A. Schwab because they're kind of ambiguous character. You would say that both are kind of villains. I guess.
Interesting.
Mhm.
I haven't read it, but it sounds really interesting.
Yeah. So Okay, so in the comments section, what is that? Shcox 97 wrote 277 words.
Nice.
Let's see. Oh, Hannah Lyons, 196. She wrote about Katerina.
Sforza?
Yeah, from the Borgias. Oh. Katerina has taken on men in battlefield. She has faced them on a train and has defeated them all.
Nice. I like that.
See. Well, 127 words from Chala Fletcher, which is pretty good.
Yeah. I think I got like 50. I don't know. I'm a slow writer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to count this though.
Shelby is.
Oh, I have to do
Quick
math.
math. Not a quick
Let's see.
Probably about 80.
Okay. All right.
Kit Marie Savvy Equus, 164. Not my best ever. It's still good though.
That's still a lot.
It's better than 0. That's a thing.
Yeah, that's what we're going for.
Okay. Should we start on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On to the next one.
Yeah.
Woo.
So our next prompt is, okay, so now think about the antagonist character in your story. Write about their backstory. You don't have to include all these descriptions of their backstory in your story, but it's good to have them in the back of your mind when you're writing about them to make them realistic and know where they're coming from. Like, how do they look in your head? What is their life story? How do they act? Or their mannerisms?
So, yeah, so just the thing about writing antagonists, I think we all kind of touched on this when we were talking about our favorites, is that you want to know that they're not just a caricature of pure evil. You know, even Darth Vader at the end, you know, he's Luke's father. Spoiler, I guess. But yeah, so it's like you really want to make them a real person. And I love this quote by Hemingway. He says, "When writing a novel, a writer should create living people. People, not characters. A character is a caricature." So just thinking about that, like, what could have caused this person to do the things that they're doing, or, what brought them to this place where they are right now. So, yeah, so let's just think about that.
Yeah.
So writing about either the villain or the bad guy in your story and just really fleshing that out and getting into some backstory.
Okay, so we'll go with 7 minutes,
So,
and it starts right now.
all right, go.
Okay. We're halfway there.
Okay.
And there I'm in the end. Okay. Under a minute left. Okay. Time's up.
Alright.
So in the chat box, leave leave a comment of your word count or a line from what you just wrote.
Or both.
Yeah. Next story, please.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, how did your writing go?
Pretty good. So I've been kind of working on a novel about elemental magic and things like that. And so I was writing about my villain who is a fire elemental. And I know,
Of
course, because what else? And so I was just thinking about going back into kind of his background. And so my first sentence was, Goring could not remember a time when the flames hadn't whispered their fiery tongues in his dreams. So.
Sounds so scary.
That's a world indicator.
Yes. This is the scary. Stuff. Yeah. What about you guys?
Well, my story is about a kind of like agoraphobic lady who spends her days inside and is afraid to go outside. So she's her own antagonist.
Oh,
I wrote about that. Yeah, I know.
That's
I was like,
interesting.
yeah.
Nice.
That's really interesting. I'm writing a series of short stories about the spider that used to live in my windowsill. And he doesn't really have, like, there isn't, I mean, there are probably a series of smaller antagonists, but the real big antagonists are things like the weather and the climate and his own mortality.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty deep stuff for a spider.
Definitely.
Let's see. Let's see. Oh, Charlotte Fletcher, 497 words. She said, "This was hard because of all my enemies are within loneliness, pride, anger, fear, etc. No concrete enemies."
Yeah, those can be some good enemies too.
Yeah.
Crab is back. Wrote 259 words.
Nice.
Winona Gardner said, "I am writing about a villain who is a notorious liar."
I feel like everybody knows somebody like that.
Let's see. Keely Martin wrote 172 words. "She came from the woods, they say. She was an orphan. Both her parents had died in battle."
Ooh, intriguing.
That sounds like the movie Mama.
Oh, jeez, I don't know.
I never saw it, but I had Tim Kim, our editorial director, explain the entire plot to me once, and that's pretty much what it sounds like. It was very terrifying, so your antagonist is quite terrifying.
All right.
Orphan just makes me think of the movie Orphan.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but no, thank you. No, thank you.
Children and scary movies are always
Yeah.
the scariest.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to our next prompt. So our next prompt is, this is kind of cliche, but it made me laugh. I don't know why. Yeah, because it's cliche. There we go.
It's fun.
Yeah, your protagonist and antagonist encounter each other in a bar. The room falls silent. What happens now? I'll be... Okay, so we're going to read an excerpt from Vicious by V.E. Schwab, which is the fabulous books about villains.
Yeah, I'm totally picking this up next time I need a book to read. So the quote is, "Victor was the guilty one. The Victor that he knew was dead, replaced by something cold and vicious, a twisted, violent version of himself. Victor had never been good or sweet. He'd always had a sharp edge. Eli had been drawn to the metallic glint of it."
Yeah, it leaves off at a very kind of spoiler point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So while you're writing this confrontation or meeting between your protagonist and antagonist, try to keep in mind that backstory that you just wrote down, because that's going to inform the way that they interact with one another. And anything can happen. They can start fighting superhero style, or they can sit down and have a beer together.
Yeah.
Anything.
Just like, oh, this sucks. Why are we fighting?
All right, we're off time. We don't have to fight it.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Okay,
So this one's for
10 minutes. Again, the prompt is, your protagonist and antagonist encounter each other in a bar. The room falls silent. What happens now? You can tell a joke, I guess. It's a leading joke. Okay, so 10 minutes starts now.
Two enemies walk into a bar.
5 minutes left. Under a minute left. Okay, 10 minutes are up. So in the chat box, leave how many were your word count and a line from what you just wrote.
How'd it go for you guys?
Word. So I wrote about how two characters obviously go into a bar and one is just drinking at the bar currently, or just annoyed, and then the other one comes in and is like, hey, just amused, just like super pleasant and charming.
Which one is the antagonist?
I don't know. Probably the charming, like the pleasantly like amused dude.
Yeah, catch more flies with honey.
Yeah.
What did you write about?
So I was continuing with my novel that I was writing about, and where I am right now in writing, the antagonist thinks that the main character is dead. So they ran into a bar and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And then she runs away because she's like, "Nope, you're not supposed to know I'm alive."
Oh no!
So, yeah.
But I guess the jig's up.
Yeah.
Wow.
What
So
happens
we'll see.
now? I don't know.
I don't know. I'll have to find out.
Where is she gonna go?
Beats me.
How about you, Shelby?
So you can't really take your mortality to a bar. That was a struggle. So I kind of backed away from my novel a little bit. So I've been really into Mad Men lately. I don't know if you guys caught the series or the season premiere on Sunday. I dabbled in some Mad Men fan fiction.
Nice.
Don and Betty walk into a bar.
Ooh. Okay, so Winona Gardner wrote 777 words. Okay. Faded Stardust wrote 280. I showed up. Oh, she showed up in the middle of this rant. That's okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah. Let's see. Hannah Lyons wrote 325 words.
Nice.
It is truly a foolish man who would demand the enemy he has not yet defeated to kneel. My father is not a foolish man. If he believes he can retain the hold on his crown, he is.
Uh-oh.
Power struggle. Let's see. Michaela Martinez wrote 310 words, and he slouched again and allowed himself a brief chuckle before replacing it with a scowl that could have ended worlds.
Ooh. That's obvious.
Cox 97 wrote, the bar is almost empty anyway, so it's a bit more realistic that way.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to read any more?
Let's see. So Savannah Beck, you wrote a whopping 513, and that's definitely the most that I've seen. Oh no, also Hala Fletcher wrote 527, so you two are kind of in the running for super high word counts. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I like this one. Keely Martin says, "Mother, I sit down beside her like I should."
Oh. Man, that stings. I feel that sting.
Yeah.
Cool.
All
Great
right.
job, guys.
Yeah.
Let's just keep coming in. I love it.
Wait, I just want to read this. Pippi, or PP Nana C8 wrote, "The whole room was filled with lava, even more so than the room before."
Wow.
Interesting.
Jeez.
How?
Trying to imagine this series of lava-filled
Filled
rooms.
rooms.
It just makes me think of the game when you're little when you play lava. Like, you can't touch the floor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're gonna get burned this way.
Sounds hot.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Alright.
let's move on
This is
to
awesome, guys. We're gonna go on to our last
Yes.
word
Final
sprint
word
right
sprint.
now.
Sprint. Yeah.
We need it.
Yes. Okay, so the prompt is, the protagonist and antagonist have to work together to overcome a sudden unexpected event, like the car broke down or your mutual bookie gets shot. Sorry. And or Godzilla comes and tries to eat both of them.
Oh,
You
sounds
know,
like
yeah.
But either way, they have to work together somehow to defeat something. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I was trying to think of like good examples to come up for with this one, and the one that kept coming back to my mind is, I don't know if any of you are Dresden Files fans. It's this long series, and the main character, Harry Dresden, has all these enemies, and he always ends up having to work with some enemy to defeat some other bigger enemy.
Mhm.
So just kind of keep going. But that's one example of how that
Yeah.
works. So. But yeah, it could be anything. So let your imaginations run wild. And again, just a reminder, you don't have to do any of these prompts, but it can be kind of fun to try them
Yeah.
out. All right.
So the prompt again is, I'll just repeat it again, just in case. The protagonist and antagonist have to work together to overcome a sudden unexpected event. So, go.
All right. 10 minutes for this
Yes.
one, I think.
Yes. Okay, starts now. 5 minutes left. One minute left. Okay, time's up.
pencils down, fingers up.
So how did you do?
Pretty good. I think I wrote quite a lot. A page and a half, whatever that is in word count in my writing. I'm not going to count it. But yeah, it's continuing with my story. So basically what happened was the antagonist started this fire that was going to end up destroying his town. And so the protagonist is like, well, we've got to stop this, so you help me down. So, yeah.
Oh, before I forget, in the chat box, leave your word count and a line from what you just wrote. Shelby?
So I've gotten probably about 4 or 5 solid pages. I'll count it later. But so in this part, I just wrote that so the bar they're in, it gets held up. So they kind of have to help one another against another antagonist that is suddenly more imminent than either of them could ever be for one another.
Cool. Like a super antagonist. I wrote, the 2 characters from my previous one. Basically, blackmail is the thing. They have to work together because one of them is blackmailing the other. So, yeah.
So that's almost like your antagonist isn't really.
Yeah.
There's no redemption
No,
there.
there isn't. They're all horrible people.
Yeah.
Maybe you should start writing Game of Thrones.
Kill everybody. Okay, I'm getting comments. Okay, so, what is it? Tia Negrit wrote 579 words. Did I forget to mention kitten? You're the finale. Ooh.
Interesting.
So much intrigue. Yeah.
Savannah Beck wrote 601 words. I feel like tearing my mind to shreds at night. My mind never stops. Am I going insane? Maybe going insane will be better than choosing.
Choosing what?
I don't know.
You can read some?
Let's see. Ooh, so Ari Baby Bug wrote 612 words. The antagonist's child, all those creepy children, starts screaming in terror, and the protagonist is helping to comfort her. It turns out that she's seeing the ghost of her mother. Dun, dun, dun.
I wasn't expecting ghosts.
Yeah, right?
I was like, oh yeah, the
Always,
baby screaming.
whenever there's a child, there's always a ghost that follows.
I know, always. Inevitable.
Let's see. Okay. Holly and Mistletoe wrote 347 words. If they did as they were told, Mr. McIntyre would give them drinks, or even some of this pot, if they were extra accommodating.
Okay.
Let's see. Crabbles back. Didn't go with the prompt, but got 332 words, so that's
Nice.
great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, keep doing what you're doing.
Let's see.
And we continue with the
Oh,
lava.
yeah.
So there's no end to the lava in there. A voice came from behind them. All 3 jumped, then turned. It was the ogre. How did you find us?
It's so intriguing.
I'm like, where does it come from?
Yeah.
There's lava and ogre, like.
You guys better finish these novels.
Yeah.
I want to read them. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Fantastic job. So I hope you guys had as much fun as we did writing about antagonists.
Yay, antagonist!
Yeah, it was great. So this is our 3rd one.
Yes.
We will be back next week for another.
Our final one, I think, of the month.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, the end of April just
I know.
got here.
Yeah.
Flying by.
Yeah. But I will not be here. I believe. I'm trying to think who will be in my place.
Maybe
Is it Grant Faulkner? I think that's the one.
Or it'll be a surprise.
Or surprise guest.
Surprise guest!
Yeah.
We'll just have a streamline of people coming in.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for having me. Thank you guys for joining and writing with us. It was a pleasure.
We hope that the prompts helped you developed your characters and whatnot.
Get up your word count.
Mhm.
Just keep going with that story.
Yeah. Keep writing. It's the
I
important
know.
part.
Mhm.
Woo!
Bye.
Bye.
See you next week.
But